Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and you're about to listen to a weight loss hypnosis session created for a client that had an addiction to processed foods. Now, here's the interesting thing about processed foods is that actually biochemically they act more like a drug than they do a food. And that's partly because of the ingredients. You've got certain very addictive ingredients in processed foods. So the flavorings tend to be very strong and noticeable. And that gets linked to things that quite often have a high glycemic index. So it gives you lots of energy very, very quickly. So things that typically are high glycemic are things like sugar, but also things like flour, for example, things in biscuits and bread. And because the body has evolved to seek out very efficient sources of energy, that becomes something that is desired at a biological level. And that's why it acts more like an addiction. And if you wanted to test whether or not processed foods act more like an addiction, one of the clues to an addiction is getting withdrawals when you stop. So if you have a lot of sugar or a lot of refined carbohydrates and you just stop that for a few days, don't be surprised if you're tired, cranky, grumpy, and you have those kind of intense kind of cravings, and that element is part of the withdrawal process. It's actually a sign that you're doing something really positive, because if you knew someone that was addicted to a very hard drug and they said, right, I'm going to stop doing it, you might say, well, if you start getting withdrawals, that's part of the process of being free, and you would be absolutely right. And if that's true for a hard drug, that's also true for these processed foods. So this hypnosis session uses some addiction hypnotherapy that normally I would be working with people that are addicted to nicotine or alcohol or marijuana or other things like cocaine, for example. Some of those techniques and modalities are actually used in this session about processed foods. And here's the interesting thing. If you were to look at the data from pretty much any major health organization in any developed nation, what you would find is that more people die of lifestyle diseases, so things like heart attacks and strokes and things like type 2 diabetes, than they actually do of drug-related deaths. So actually, you could say that processed foods, in terms of the actual impact on human life, are actually more dangerous to some extent. And that's partly because they're culturally accepted. There is this kind of perception of where you just choose to eat that food. There isn't really a discussion about how addictive some of these foods are. And by the way, the food and drink companies absolutely know how addictive these ingredients are, because they know that if they can have cheap ingredients that are addictive, then they have a long-term customer. It's in their financial interests to do that. So there is lots of things going on in this particular hypnosis session, but it's designed to enable you to break free from an addiction to processed foods. So if you like that idea, then you'll get a lot of value from this particular session. There is actually a download that I have, which is a weight loss hypnosis download. Actually a selection of weight loss hypnosis downloads, completely free. So if you like this kind of stuff and you want a bit more like it, but without the intro and the outro and the explanation, click the link in the description and you'll get some free downloads all about weight loss just by doing that. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that slow, long feeling of relaxation, and as you exhale, give yourself permission to release any feelings of stress, worry, or tension. That's it. Feeling like you're drifting to a place where you can relax to a whole new, deeper level. Eyelids feeling heavier, releasing any muscle tension in your jaw. That's it. Even your forehead starts to relax. And notice your breathing get deeper all by itself. You don't need to force that deeper breath. Just facilitate it. Allow it to happen. Breathing in deeper, not just from your chest, but all the way down into the diaphragm. And as you exhale, allow that outward breath to carry on a little bit longer. Almost like you're blowing out a candle 2 or 3 meters away in front of you, emptying your lungs. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. A wonderful cycle of ever increasing levels of relaxation. That's it, deeper and deeper relaxed. A wonderful sense of drifting. And allow your mind to take you to a wonderful place. And the difference between a memory and your imagination is subtle. Sometimes what you think is a memory is just your imagination recreating a moment as if it's happening again in the present. And I wonder if you could imagine a trail, not a local trail, but a trail in a different land. Maybe your imagination can think of scenery like mountains, trees. Maybe you could imagine blue skies. The particular look of clouds, the feeling of a breeze. And I wonder if you could imagine what it would feel like to be hiking or walking from an elevated level high up, so that you can see perhaps valleys, villages or towns. I wonder if your imagination can almost feel what it would be like to be looking out over land. Feel a sense of peace and tranquility. A whole new level of calmness. That's it. Allow your body to shift into pure relaxation. There's nothing you need to do right now. Just allow your unconscious to listen. And as you listen, you may notice just how easy it becomes to allow my voice to go with you deeper inward into the part of you that wants real change. And there's a part of you that knows exactly what to do. I want you to unlock a feeling of pride from the changes that you've already made, that have taken your life in wonderful, positive, healthy directions. Sometimes it's easier to continue a journey when you're already on that journey. If you've been hiking for days, it's easier to do day 5 or day 6 than day 1. You are building on the foundations that you have already laid. And there is a part of you, deep within, that already knows how to lose body fat, how to feel healthy, energized, and in control. What if you were to think of ultra-processed foods as more like a drug than a food? And not a drug like medication used to heal, but a recreational drug where the trade-off is temporary pleasure for long-term pain. I want you to think of how many people in the world die of drugs like heroin, cocaine, nicotine, and alcohol. And then start to think of how many people in the world die of obesity-related issues, a diet of too much salt, sugar, and refined carbohydrates. Millions of people dying every year from heart disease and strokes, diabetes, and cancers caused by a diet of ultra-high processed foods. What if the real drug epidemic isn't the drug we think of? What if it's a different drug? The drug of processed foods. But you already know this, that some foods aren't really food at all. They are manufactured substances, engineered by scientists in laboratories to hit the pleasure centers of a brain just like a drug. Why would these food companies have so much sugar and salt in foods? Because they are cheap and they are addictive. And the consequence of that cheap, addictive thing is that millions of people die. Processed food is a dangerous drug, a profitable, dangerous drug. A drug that gives a dose of dopamine, a spike of sugar. Addictive, and you know it's addictive because you get withdrawals when you go without, just like you did with a different drug. But like any drug, the cost is high. Temporary pleasure at the expense of long-term freedom, health, and vitality. I want you to think of an image that comes to mind when you think of a drug addict. Do you see someone bursting with life, confidence and vitality? Or do you see someone that looks tired and withered and weak? What if these ultra-high processed foods act like a parasite on your body's true needs? What if they hijack your hunger and trick your taste buds, dull your intuition? As you imagine yourself out there in nature, feel a connection with something bigger than you. Maybe it's the universe, and maybe it's your intuition. But I want you to feel that you are waking up. I want you to feel an epiphany, that you are reclaiming control. I want you to get a sense that these ultra-high processed foods they've been luring you into a trap. If you can get a customer addicted, you have a customer for life. It's profitable to be an addict if you're the one selling the drug. But what if your epiphany is that all along, your unconscious wanted the real need behind that craving? You never wanted these foods. You were trained to become addicted to these processed foods. But you can be free. Any addict can be free. The truth can set you free. Just imagine that each time you see something in a wrapper or a packet or a can or a container, you become vigilant, perhaps even suspicious. A feeling that you don't want to play that game anymore because you know the real cost. Allow that epiphany to ripple to every cell in your body, where what you crave now is real food, real nourishment. You crave authenticity. You will no longer tolerate the fabricated, synthesized substitutes of reality. You want the real thing or nothing at all. I want you to imagine what it would feel like to crave reality, real food. Unlock that part of you that desires fresh, real food, that doesn't need colorings because they're already colorful, doesn't need an artificial crunch because they already make that sound. Flavorings don't need to be added because they are bursting with real flavor. You don't need foods with artificial energy because the real energy comes from food powered by sunshine and rainwater. And these real foods aren't just nutrients, they're truth. Each real food contains information at a cellular level, teaching your body to make subtle changes that awaken new cells and new behaviors. I want you to get a sense that each and every time you have real food, you are training your brain and your body to become healthier and happier, with the feeling of dopamine that comes from the freedom of breaking those addictions of the past. Every time you eat a proper meal made from real food, your body thanks you. Your metabolism awakens. And the cravings for that synthetic substitute reduces because your needs are being met. I want you to think of your ancestors tens of thousands of years ago. There were no supermarkets, no cans, no packets. They ate real food. They would hunt, they would gather, they would forage, but they would prepare real meals. I want you to feel that you are awakening your ancestral desires within to have real food. Your ancestors didn't eat breakfast. They didn't need it. They broke their fast at lunchtime, and you will desire to do the same. What if by eating 2 meals a day, everything got easier, everything got simple? You eat when your body is ready, and your body adapts to 2 meals a day. And outside of those 2 meals, your body is resting, recuperating. And if it needs extra energy, it will take it from your body fat cells. Every time you feel a craving and then wait till the next meal time, you will imagine your belly fat converting into energy that your body uses. It feels good to live in a rhythm that supports your goals. But the echoes of cravings will come. But I want you to imagine your cravings like a chess game. Just imagine they make a move, a desire for something sweet or salty or processed. But that move is never random. You can decode the signal behind it. A request. Unleash the Grand Master within you. You don't need to fight the craving. No need for deprivation. You outmaneuver it. You outplay it. What is this craving really about? Maybe it's a feeling or a taste. But what if you consider your counter move a way of training your brain to adapt, to build or awaken powerful neural pathways that take your life in a wonderful, healthy direction? Just imagine if you were to crave chocolate. Instead of having that processed chocolate with all of that fat and sugar, imagine eating high quality, high cocoa solids, dark chocolate, rich in antioxidants and serotonin boosting compounds. Your body wants chocolate? Give it real chocolate. But what if it wants something savory, a salty taste? No need to have those processed snacks. You could have real savory foods, maybe healthy nuts or a savory meal. There is sodium naturally in certain foods like fish and celery and vegetables. I want you to get a sense that when your cravings make a move, you enjoy playing the game. Like an Aikido master, you use the craving's energy against itself. No need to fight it, you harness it. Imagine if you were craving carbs like crisps. Maybe it's the crunch or the flavor. You could immediately consider roasted vegetables, air-fried sweet potatoes, or a crisp salad, a high-fiber whole food alternative. Moves and counter moves. And each time your counter move elegantly outsmarts your opponent, you will feel that you're becoming healthier, happier, and freer. A maestro, a master, a grandmaster of your emotions and your body. Each craving becomes an invitation to build a new healthy habit, to become more skillful in meeting your real needs. You don't need to resist or deprive cravings. You translate them, decode them, and respond with a masterful counter move. You're no longer a grazer. You are an intentional eater. You prioritize meals over snacks. Meals full of nutrients, real foods, pleasurable foods. And that time in between enhances the pleasure you will get from those meals. Imagine not eating for a week and having one meal. Would you really choose processed food? Or would you choose something healthy and delicious? After a week of not eating, that would be the most delicious meal ever. Delay enhances the feeling of deliciousness that you get from that food. And those desires to snack fade away. As the withdrawals wear off, it becomes easier and easier to just eat delicious meals and to allow your intuition to guide you as to the kind of food that you would enjoy most. Your body fat then becomes easy to burn. To turn your body fat cells into ketones, ketones into energy. When you train your body to burn fat, it can use your body fat cells as a bank account of energy, withdrawing deposits whenever it desires. Your hunger will go down, your cravings will go down, and you will get leaner and healthier and have more energy. You don't need to exercise all the time, but whenever you do walk or hike or even cycle, just know that you are burning even more body fat with every minute of activity. And I wonder if you could imagine yourself 6 months or a year from now, 6 months or a year of eating real foods, real meals, and maybe you see yourself with a lean, healthy body that reminds you of a younger version of you. And I wonder how confident and proud and healthy that version of you would feel like. So just step into that future version of you just for a moment. To test drive this healthy version of you, just to know for sure it's a desirable place to get to. I want you to imagine that you're back on that trail, out there in nature, but feeling like an epiphany, an idea has taken root. That you see everything now through this new lens. And you don't need willpower to not eat an addictive, dangerous drug because you simply don't want it. You would much rather have real, authentic food, powered by sunshine and rainwater. If it's real, you desire it. If it's processed, suddenly it just feels tainted, spoiled, undesirable in some way. But it's time to leave this place, return to the present. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, start to connect and calibrate into the here and the now. That's it. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling resourceful, optimistic, motivated, with a newfound sense of clarity as to what you truly desire. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.